everyone, welcome to another episode of the Awesome Sunday Show. Pat here.
Connor back as usual.
I just had to re-record that because the first time I said it, I sounded pretty weird.
Well, Pat's kind of drunk.
Oh yeah, totally wasted off like a quarter of a beer.
And you also took a swig of that private stock.
Oh, I downed the whole bottle, but I have, a high tolerance, so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, this is our second episode of the week, again.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do 2 episodes. We record 2 episodes a week, but I always forget we do 2 episodes a week.
Yeah. Becca, I told her today I had to record. She goes, "Oh, why did you guys record the other day? Do you stop recording, like releasing on Sundays?" I'm like, "Bitch, I told you."
Yeah.
I'm sorry I said that.
No, it's true. I was there.
Yeah.
And he smacked her too.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm like Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. Yeah, except you can read.
Yeah. That we were recording twice a week, and I told her this like weeks before we started doing it in the first place. I'm like, wow, you really pay attention to us. That shows how wonderful of a attentive girlfriend you are.
No, yeah. All jokes aside, she's awesome. She's a really good girlfriend.
I mean, she's all right.
Yeah, I guess.
No,
so.
she's wonderful. She's not gonna listen to this, so I could say anything I want. Really.
Yeah. You could literally say anything you want about her right now, and I don't think she would ever find out.
Probably.
You
not.
should let it all out.
She's secretly a man.
Whoa.
She got the downstairs, done.
So like how it's like. Oh, so she was are you saying she was originally a man?
She was a man. She did a Bruce Jenner.
Oh, was she like Bruce now to Becca Lynn? How
there you go.
Like
yep.
how Bruce Jenner went to Caitlyn?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Oh wow,
that's exactly.
I didn't know you were into the whole penis snip ones.
It's gone, so
Yeah.
That's clearly a joke.
So let's segue into the Flash.
Yeah, I mean that's a perfect segue.
Yeah, exactly. Getting your ball snipped.
Yeah, totally. Although Barry's balls, metaphorically get snipped a couple times because when he acts like a little bitch. But
oh my god.
Yeah. All right. So we're starting off with episode 19. It's been a few weeks since we talked about the Flash, so we got 3 episodes today, and this one is titled "Back to Normal." Now, this came off the heels of Barry giving up his powers to Zoom in a retarded decision.
Yeah, I thought that was a bad decision.
And to be honest, I wasn't too thrilled with this episode.
Yes, but
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was like all right.
It's a tolerable episode, not because it's a bad episode, but because it's it's leading up to something bigger.
Right.
So like it's serviceable.
Yeah,
it's not like episodes of The Flash that disappointed me, which there's very few that have disappointed me. The series as a whole is still one of the best television series on television right now. But like I could, like even episodes of like Breaking Bad, where nothing really happens, it's leading up to something, it's building up. So they're serviceable episodes.
Yeah, it serves a purpose.
Like there's only like a few episodes I've ever been disappointed with in The Flash, and that's because it was an event that happened, like Barry losing his powers. I thought that decision was stupid. So like that disappointed me. So, but again, like we're getting to something much better.
Oh yeah, the ending was very important. That was probably the
yes.
Yeah. So basically, Barry's trying to get used to his life without powers, and I like how they changed like the beginning of the show to show him back to being normal. Like he has to take the bus, he can't catch his coffee.
Right,
when it drops.
That was done well.
Yeah, it was done well because it illustrated the point that his life is completely changed again. He's had these powers for like little over 2 years or whatever. So that's a long time to have your life, gone from like a boring normal life to a superpowered life.
Right.
And to go back just sucks. Clearly, I mean, he looks like
imagine coming back from the best vacation you've ever had times 1,000,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't go 1,000,000. Yeah,
dude, you're the
good
Flash.
Because he'd be so disappointed.
Yeah, like you're the Flash. That's pretty disappointing.
That's fair. But in the meantime, there's no Flash to protect the city, and in order for people not to catch on, they actually did something a little smart. There's some flaws to it, but they created a Flash hologram that Barry moved on the treadmill to basically chase criminals, and we see it in this car chase. So he like makes them think that the Flash is still there, even though when they show him standing still, he's glitching like in and out a lot. But they didn't pick up Although it could be said, he's just moving so fast that, and plus if you got that adrenaline, you probably wouldn't notice. But they're doing something in the meantime. Wells decides to go look for his daughter, Jesse, to help Barry in some way because he says that she's even smarter than him.
Yeah, which there was no indication of that whatsoever until he just said it.
Well, he has said it before.
Yeah, I guess
that's the only way we know that. Otherwise, we would have no idea.
I kind of wish there was Jesse did something. You're everyone's whoa, that's pretty impressive.
Well, at the end, at some point in the episode, we find out she has 5 degrees or 5 PhDs or 5 majors or something like that in college. And she's like, "Oh, is that normal?" And
isn't she 20?
She's I don't even know if she's 20.
Well, obviously
she's under 21.
Yeah, because it's the
for
episode,
that previous episode. Yeah. But it was really funny because Iris went into when she said that a little stereotypical sassy black girl. She's like, "Girl, that ain't normal." One of those.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. But so before that, Wells goes looking for her, finds her in some random apartment, and comes in. He shows up with that huge rifle that he's been carrying around. And the girl who answers the door is like, "Oh, are you going paintballing?" Is like, "Oh, yeah." That would not be my first instance. That's clearly not a paintball gun. That guy has a fucking huge rifle.
Yeah.
And he's coming to look for
I forgot about that.
Very specific person. And that's how calmly you're going to react. And so the girl's goes in. Wells and Jesse are, bickering. And then the girl first goes into her room. And then she's like, "All right, I'm just going to leave my own apartment to get out of there." If it's your apartment, you just kick them the fuck out. But he did have a rifle, so maybe not. So after that, Wells is going to go back to Star Labs, driving the van, and some dude just steps in the way, and the van splits around him pretty much. Find out this guy is Griffin Grey, and he's got super strength, which is a incredibly common power that people have in anything comics related.
Yeah, I've never not it's weird when someone doesn't have super strength unless you're the Flash, or if you have you're either a speedster or you have super strength. You don't see a lot of Supermans out there, or
you have super strength, speed, or energy based powers or magic. That's but it's more so the most common one is super strength,
right? Or enhanced strength.
Yeah, some sort of but his problem is he's super strong, which is great. But anytime he exerts himself using his strength, he basically ages 10 years or something ridiculous.
For a really common superpower, it's a really nice twist to see.
Yeah, it's a good spin they used on it. And it's actually Griffin Grey is in the comics like that, except I think he's a hero. And a similar thing happens. He has super strength, but anytime he chooses to use that strength to that excess, he does lose part of his lifespan. This is just, I think, more rapid compared to what it is in the comics. But he's supposed to be 18 years old in the episode, but when we first meet him, he's 50 or something.
Right.
So in order to save Wells, they got to try and stop him. Cisco puts in this Dwarf Star alloy into Barry's suit to protect him, but it only protects one punch, which isn't good.
Nope.
And, it's a good thing he's not fighting One Punch Man. Because then he'd really be dead.
Nice reference.
Thank you. So they find him. Barry tries to, trick him into giving up. Dude clearly knows Barry doesn't have speed. Punches him. Surprised he didn't shatter him. But with that, he aged 40 years. Died. Became old as hell. Died. Barry killed this dude. And then he reverts back to his 18-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of cured him. But he's dead now. So, kind of evened out, I guess.
I guess so.
But while all this is going on, it cuts to Earth 2 a bunch of times with Caitlin, who in the last episode was taken prisoner by Zoom.
Yep.
And, he's treating her nicer than his other captives. She's chained to a bed, but she has a bed.
Yeah, it's better than chained to a floor.
And having, heavy iron mask trap locked on your face.
All right, this is a question I've always been kind of wondering. How do these people go take a piss?
I don't know.
There's not even
they don't, I guess.
I guess they don't, or it's
Or they do it, and then Zoom has like a cleaning crew. They just do it in the corner, and then
Or Zoom like transports them out real fast, watches them do their business because they can't be doing anything suspicious.
Right.
Which is really weird.
maybe that's his fetish.
Maybe, I don't know. Like I would, like honestly, if I were like a set designer, I'd be like, you know what, just put a bucket in there because people are gonna be like asking this all over Reddit and the internet. Just give them an answer, and we just won't acknowledge it.
Yeah, adds to the mystery though.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, like who feeds them? How do they get fed? Although Caitlyn got Big Belly Burger.
oh, dude, then she's taking more than a piss.
yeah, yeah, definitely. If it's anything like Five Guys, you know.
Ooh.
But what was really interesting about the whole Earth 2 thing is she meets her doppelganger, Killer Frost.
Yeah.
Which was cool. It was nice to see the same actress, play against herself in completely different personas. You know, Killer Frost is clearly
Evil.
and Caitlyn is about as, goody two-shoes as they come.
Yeah, she's like, imagine like someone coming out of like 8th grade Christian academy. Nice.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like the most holy, goody. It's like Conway and Evan.
Yeah.
Put it like that.
Yeah. Like, imagine if Gandhi and Mother Teresa had a baby girl.
Yeah, something like that.
It's Caitlyn.
And one funny thing that Killer Frost said to her is like, Killer Frost's get up quite accentuates her cleavage.
Yeah,
and she
which
goes
is
to
great.
no complaints.
Yeah, I'm not
she goes
complaining.
to Caitlyn. She's like, "Why are you hiding the girls?" And Caitlyn's like, "What girls?" So she's kind of burning herself, dissing herself, her regular self, and then her Earth 2 self.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Zoom is happy with what she's got going on.
Oh yeah. The fans are happy.
Yeah. So they devise a plan to get her loose so they can get out of there, and she could help Caitlyn get down from the mountain that Zoom keeps them on. So Caitlyn gets her out, but surprise, surprise, Killer Frost turns on her. And for a pretty good reason. Killer Frost's reasoning is that, now that you're here, he doesn't need me because he's only keeping me around because I'm your doppelganger. Which led to something really sweet. Probably the best part of the episode, in my opinion. Killer Frost shoots an icicle at her, and Zoom comes out of nowhere, phases his entire body through Caitlyn, grabs the icicle, and then stabs Killer Frost right in the gut.
Yeah, that was pretty baller.
Yeah.
Like, it made us, again, I still think the episode's serviceable, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it like it's an episode to service to a greater event, which is needed in every series. It's actually important to have a stable, serviceable episode.
Yeah, it's a setup episode.
Exactly, but that doesn't mean you can't have exciting moments.
Right.
And they did do that.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the coolest moments of the season, just how well done it was.
I'm starting to like this episode a little more than that we were talking about
Yeah.
it. Like, it's definitely uneven in certain areas, but the stuff that's good is good.
Yeah, totally. And that I just thought that was so badass that I guess he has like Caitlyn senses, because unless he was just happened to be coming back, but knew that she was in danger. But it was sweet, just phased right through her. So technically, he penetrated Caitlyn.
That is true. It's not in the way that he may have wanted, but he still can brag about it to his
Exactly. He's like, yeah,
friends.
I penetrated her.
Or people
To the
under
people
him.
who are scared of him,
Yeah.
that bow to him. Yeah. And then,
But he's like such an evil guy that he actually still says penetrate instead
Yeah.
of just like saying sex.
yeah, exactly.
He's like, I penetrated her. What?
Yeah.
Zoomed in right in there.
Yeah. So Zoom, bitches her out for freeing Killer Frost and said that's what happens when you betray me. Don't fuck with the man in the iron mask. Clearly this guy is, we're finding out he's even more and more important every time we see him.
Yeah, I think his power has whoever the man in the iron mask is, and this is just a theory that I thought of as like maybe 30 seconds ago. The reason why I think he's in the iron mask, not just to hide to his identity, because they could just do that with a normal mask.
Yeah, with anything, really.
With anything, or like I think he has a certain power, like either like a scream because he can't talk either. I'm trying to think of a DC superhero or somebody that can yell like really loud, like
Oh, they have like a
black
sonic ability.
like a Black Canary type person,
Right.
But obviously a male.
When I first when they first showed him, and like I was thinking like, oh, maybe he's a speedster, The reason Jesse Quick and Johnny Quick, both their Speed Force powers are activated by saying the Speed Force formula. So at one point I was thinking, maybe it has something to do with that. This guy might be a speedster.
I didn't think about that.
And he can't access his powers because he can't say the formula. Or, he still could be a speedster. There's no indication that he's not. He could have a sonic-based power like Black Canary does. Yeah. Or he could be magic. You need to say spells, really.
Right.
Or he really needs to keep that identity secret, and that mask is, suppressing his ability to communicate. Especially if Zoom plans on bringing, like, Barry or Caitlin there. He doesn't want that guy talking to them.
Nope.
Clearly. So this guy's extremely important, and even the producers and the actors have been saying, like, yeah, this guy's really important. You'll find out in the finale, and it's going to pay off very well. So hopefully that's true.
Yeah.
There's a few theories that it could be, like, one of my theories, which, like I've mentioned on a previous podcast, that I try not to come up with theories just because, like, if it comes true, I'm like, oh, well, I saw that coming then. But, sometimes it's just fun and interesting to come up with ones, or, like, reading really good theories.
Yeah.
One theory I have is that it could be Hunter's dad, who is the real Jay Garrick.
Oh,
yeah. And that's where, Hunter got that name and that uniform from.
It's probably most likely it. It's a really logical answer.
Yeah. I think it's very likely. Or it is Henry Allen, John Wesley Shipp is the name of the actor, and he's the real Jay Garrick on Earth 2, because in the episode that comes after this, episode 20, Henry says something when Barry comes to visit him, and he says something, and Barry's like explaining to him Hunter and Jay and like Zoom and all that, and Henry says something that like was really surprising, but Barry like didn't even react to, which I was pretty surprised at. He said, "Oh, my mother's maiden name is Garrick." I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's like extremely interesting."
That's pretty important.
That's pretty important because so far what we know is everybody else on Earth 2's name stays the same as their doppelganger. Nobody's name has changed. What if on Earth 2 Henry uses the last name Garrick and is the real Jay Garrick that has been captured, and may or may not still be, Earth 2 Barry's dad or not, or something of that, it's just something that I've considered. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to stick around at the end of this past week's episode, which we're going to get to. Normally when people say that, they're getting lined up to die.
Yeah.
So I think it's either Hunter's real dad, who is really Jay Garrick, or John Wesley Shipp as Jay Garrick, because I think one of the writers for Jay Garrick, or the creator of Jay Garrick, made a tweet saying how disappointed he was with how he was used this season, and like how they basically used him as a throwaway to conceal a villain's identity. And Greg Berlanti, who's the executive producer on the show and created the show, said, "Oh, don't worry, we're not done with Jay yet." So
yeah,
I have a feeling that the guy in the Iron Mask is Jay Garrick, whether it's Hunter's dad, Henry Allen, or John Wesley Shipp, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I think is in the man in the Iron Mask, personally. But yeah, that remains to be seen. And then the end of the episode, Zoom's like, I own this Earth pretty much. I'm gonna go conquer other Earths, and brings Caitlin to Earth 1, and he's gonna take over, the multiverse.
Yeah, it's pretty much war.
Yeah, Justice League War. No, not really.
No, that's a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's on Netflix. If you haven't watched it yet, you definitely should.
It's awesome. It is what Batman vs Superman should have been.
Yeah, because it starts a little bit similar. It's how the Justice League came to be in this this version of it.
Even though there's no Batman fighting Superman in this,
there's a little scene like that, but it's not them against each other.
It's not their ideologies against each other. I don't want to ruin the movie, but
yeah, fucking watch it. It's just so good.
It is amazing. Oh my god, the DC animated short films, or I'm sorry, the DC animated directed DVD movies are fantastic.
They are. They're, aside from
Like 9 out of 10, they're good.
yeah,
You know,
definitely. Flashpoint and Son of Batman,
and it's all
Under the Red Hood. Oh wait, Under the Red Hood might not be on Netflix, but
it was on Netflix. It's not there anymore.
Son of Batman and Flashpoint are on Netflix right now, and they're great.
Yeah,
Flashpoint is, if you're a fan of the Flash, definitely watch that one.
Flashpoint's actually probably my favorite one, or second favorite. Justice League War is my favorite out of all the DC.
I have that reversed.
Yeah, my second favorite is Flashpoint. The only reason why is because I'm not a fan of the animation in Flashpoint. Everybody looks the same. Like literally, they're all like 6'5". They have the same exact muscle build. It's really annoying. That's really the only reason why. Besides that, Flashpoint it's probably one of the best animated movies out there right now, especially just for comic books. Not just for comic books, I mean, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is great. Anyway,
sorry.
No, that's all right. That's fine, because that's something from Flash or similar to Flashpoint actually happens at the end of this episode we're going to talk about now. It's episode 20 called Rupture.
Isn't that what happened to Caitlin after she had that burger? LMAO.
Oh, and you know what? I was wrong when I said before that Flash was using a hologram in the last episode. It's in this episode. I mixed it up.
I didn't realize you were wrong until like 2 minutes after the conversation, so I wasn't going to correct you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And so in this, they're like really trying to figure out how to get Barry's powers back. And Wells comes up with the idea: recreate the particle accelerator explosion, except now that they know what went wrong, especially when he built his own, he can contain it in a way that it will, directly affect Barry and just Barry.
Or so they say. Or so he says.
There's always dangers here.
Yeah, it's a particle accelerator.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like it's not a criticism. I just want to deter for 1 second, just because it's something I love about comic books in general. They always like try to recreate something that something good came out of, but was tragic for everybody, and they're like, it'll work again.
Yeah.
It's just always a common thing.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
The super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Or Mirakuru on Arrow. But Wells proposed that, and everybody's like, hell no. Because the last time Barry did it, he was in a coma for 9 months. And plus, they don't know if he'll live through it this time. So Barry consults his one dad, Joe, and then goes to see his real dad, Henry, where Henry mentions, oh yeah, my mother's maiden name was Garrick. But I was like so surprised that Barry was so nonchalant about it. He didn't even acknowledge he said it.
Yeah, it's kind of almost oh crap, we forgot to mention this.
Yeah, it was like Barry should have been like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, as soon as he met Jay, like, honestly, my mother's maiden name is Carcella. So if I met somebody for the first time, like, hey, like, I'm Henry Carcella, I'd be like, wow, that's my mom's maiden name. Like, so that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's his grandmother's, Barry's grandmother's maiden name. Not everybody knows. Like, I feel like most people don't know their grandmother's maiden names. Like,
I kind of forget mine now, actually.
I know my dad's mom's because it's just Smith. It's the most common name in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know my mom's. But, yeah, like, I feel like most people wouldn't. But, so, that, especially given what the last name is, Barry should have been like, are you serious? Like, well, just had some sort of reaction. He kind of just, like, didn't even acknowledge it, which I thought was pretty dumb. But that's what, like, I think, reinforced the theory that John Wesley's ship is the Jay Garrick, the real Jay Garrick or something. Or enhance that possibility. So Henry ends up going back to Central City with Barry, and then all the dads are fighting. Mm-hmm. Henry, Joe, and Wells. Barry's 3 dads, pretty much. 3 men and a baby type deal.
There you go. Oh man, dude. R.I.P. Leonard Nimoy. He actually directed that movie.
He did?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was... Oh, wow.
Yeah. And R.I.P. Steve... what's his name? Steve Guttenberg. He was in Police Academy. The guy with the curly hair. He was also in The Big Green. Yeah. R.I.P. his career.
Oh, his career.
Yeah.
I was about to say, he's dead?
No, he's not dead. No.
Oh, yeah.
He was the same person in every movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't Tom Selleck in that movie too?
Yeah, he's one of the three
and
men.
Ted Danson.
Yeah.
What a cast!
Yeah, it is.
Oh, dude, that's got to be a couch review episode.
We should.
We should totally do it.
And there's, this is the last thing we're going to talk about the movie, and then we get back to Flash. In the one scene, there's a constant, theory or,
Oh, I know exactly what you're
conspiracy
talking about.
that in the background next to the crib, right?
Yeah,
There's a ghost, a ghost of a boy.
It's
or
a
something.
room behind the crib, and it's a boy standing there. And for a while, everyone thought it was an extra or something on accident. But then the boy doesn't move at all, so everyone thought it was a ghost.
Yeah,
and it was a cardboard cutout that they forgot to get rid of.
Yeah, but for a while it was it's just one of those things. I feel like that's kind of common on a lot of movie sets.
Yeah,
made for an interesting idea. But yeah, good movie. Moving on. So the three dads are arguing. Barry's like, whatever, I can't think about this right now. Zoom and Caitlin come back to Earth 1. Zoom's like, fuck you guys, this is my city. And basically tells all the cops, leave or die. Smartly, they leave.
yeah.
Which I would too. You've seen what this guy could do.
But also keep in mind too, a lot of people will see that in movies like, oh, cowards, blah blah blah. But it's like you also got to be smart. Leave now and regroup with a plan instead of just not having a plan against all these metagamers.
Exactly. Plus, all those cops saw what he did to Barry, and they saw when they tried shooting at him last time, he caught every single bullet like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And they basically saw him break the Flash. So obviously they'd be scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's the fastest man alive that they've seen.
Yeah.
Especially now that he's got Barry's speed. Yeah, so they're going through that, and basically Zoom's just hanging out in the police station. All the cops retreat to the coffee shop Jitters. Great place to plan something. That reminds me of in the Dark Knight Rises, when the cops plan that stuff with the army in the grocery store or restaurant or whatever.
Yeah, wasn't that in the sewer?
No. That's where the cops got trapped in the sewer.
Right.
But when the cops and the army are going undercover to plan, figuring out a plan how to find the reactor bomb or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're in the back of a grocery store or something.
Yeah. Not a huge fan of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, it just reminded me of that. So then we get another metahuman in this episode, Rupture, who turns out to be the doppelganger of Cisco's brother Dante, which Dante kind of didn't react to. Before, I think it was before this or in the last episode or something, Cisco wrote a letter intended for Dante and his parents. And at one point later on in the episode, after they defeat Rupture, after Zoom kills him, Dante finds the letter and is like, what is this? You went to Earth 2? And he didn't even react to there being a second Earth.
Yeah.
This dude, had no reaction. I don't get what these people aren't reacting to.
I don't get it. Yeah, it's... man, sometimes I feel like I want to because it's such The Flash is such a great show. It really is. But then sometimes there's a lot of different directors on each episode, so you're gonna get varied reactions, and you can totally tell some directors are better than others per episode. Yeah, because actors, as good as actors are, you have to put a lot of trust into your director. Hence why you see Mark Wahlberg, who's a good actor, and Zooey Deschanel, who's a great actress. You see them do awful performances in The Happening.
Well, everything about that movie.
Now, The Flash is a great show, so sometimes my theory behind that, when you see people react really weird towards certain or not in a way a normal person would react towards a certain object or situation, I just think it's a director for hire. And the episode is still good, but because of the writing and the actors that they have, and the set and everything like that. It's just there might be some poor direction in some areas. Yeah, and that's something as an actor, you're obviously allowed to put your input into a scene or whatever. You're oh, I'm thinking like this, and the director could either accept it or reject it and be like, no, I want to do it like this. So that could be something that lies in the director's fault, right? Or whatever. Because a director has a lot, especially even if it's a TV show where it's director for hire and a set that's already been established, they still have a lot of control. The directors can ruin or make an episode.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
just by how everything flows.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're the director for a reason. You know, it lies in their hands to a certain extent. But yeah, he like didn't react, and then he's like, Cisco's like, he finds out Cisco has powers. Just like, oh, you have powers, huh? Again, something you would like. My brother has powers. Holy fuck!
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. And he went to another Earth. Apparently, there's more than one Earth. That's insane.
Yeah, like imagine if Kevin came home one time.
Kevin's my brother. For those who don't know.
Right. Sup, Kevin. I like Kevin more than you do.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. So Kevin comes home. He's like, "Oh, by the way, hey, I have these powers. I can like see into the future and like see alternate realities as well as seeing events happening at the same time in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
by
open,
the way,
and open portals to other worlds.
and open portals to other worlds, and also I've journeyed to those other worlds as well.
Yeah,
and you were just like, cool.
yeah. No big deal. Honestly, if I was the person with those powers and somebody found out and they reacted like so nonchalantly about it, I'd be a little offended. I'd be a little upset. Are you fucking kidding me?
I would straight up flip up the finger right behind your back and just be like, you know what? I had awesome time in Earth 2, and they'll never know about it because cool. Keep playing Ratchet and Clank there. You know,
I would open up a portal and send that person through to another Earth and be like, all right.
This is what you blew off.
You appreciate how cool this is, and I'll come back when you start appreciating it. Otherwise, have fun. Yeah. So at one point in the episode, Caitlin steals a cell phone from an evidence box and warns Team Flash that Zoom is going to jitters, or Rupture is going to jitters, where the cops are, and Zoom did not appreciate that. In the least bit, needless to say.
Nope.
And so Rupture went there, tried to kill some cops, wasn't successful.
Oof.
Zoom came and annihilated him in front of a reporter who was recording the whole thing live on the news. And the poor Rupture didn't turn out so well. Then Barry tries using the hologram to come in. Zoom kills the reporter, grabs the camera's like, oh yeah, that's not really the Flash. That's not real.
Yeah.
So, you guys go have fun. Go tear up the city. Then Barry really shows up. Zoom didn't say, oh, that's the Flash, surprisingly, to try and stop him. And Zoom, I forget exactly what he asked, but he asked all the cops there something. And then he killed everybody except for Joe and the captain, Captain Singh. Which I forget exactly what he said. I don't know why, but he just fucking in an instant snapped like 12 cops' necks. And he filmed the entire thing. And was like, hey, Central City, you're my bitch now. Thanks.
I think it's because Zoom is this. I think that made sense to me, actually.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, because I think it's because a psychotic killer wants people to know what he does.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, hey, that guy knows the Flash, and he's the captain. Like, let's okay, imagine being like head of something, and then like all your underlings die in front of you, but you're also noble, which that captain's obviously a good guy.
Yeah.
It's like Zoom wants to kill people, also watch people suffer.
Oh yeah, he loves. That's the reason he started the Jay Garrick persona, to rip hope away from people and watch them suffer. I can't remember what the hell he said, but regardless,
it must have not been that important, Pat.
I guess not.
Sorry, I don't remember either.
Yeah. So then, this instant, it's like Barry came to the realization, which he should have known all along, honestly, that he can't defeat Zoom without his powers. Go fucking figure.
Yeah. Wow. I can't
Not
shoot
to
a gun
mention,
without
he made
a bullet.
him like a million times stronger. So he agrees to Wells' plan. They set up the particle accelerator. They're bringing the chemicals that doused Barry when he first got struck by lightning. And this scene was actually very reminiscent of the movie Flashpoint, because at one point, after events happen, Barry does not have his powers. And so in order to get them back, he has to recreate the accident that gave him his powers. It's a little bit different in Flashpoint, but almost exactly the same, really. The two differences being lightning and a particle accelerator. So Barry does that. Everyone's there. Iris like, you didn't used to have something. Oh, when you went to Earth 2, you told me you didn't have anything to come back to because Patty left. And then she's like, you have me to come back to because I love you, Barry. I think we should be together, blah, blah, blah. And Barry just had no words to say. He's just like, oh, all right. And then just left her hanging. I was probably a little upset about that. I'd be a little offended.
I'd be pretty pissed.
Especially if you confessed your love to this girl, and then she's like, but it's one of those things like, you were in love with this person, they didn't have the same feelings. Then at some point later on, they have those feelings for you, but you don't, or whatever. But we all know Barry secretly does.
Yeah. I remember in season 1, he's like, I don't have those feelings for you anymore. It's like, liar.
Oh yeah,
liar.
Terrible, terrible liar. So then they do the thing, and particle accelerator happens. Barry disappears. All that's left is his suit.
Yeah, it's and I gotta admit, for a show with a criminally slashed budget, that it should get more money. Like,
yeah,
because the amount of effort that's put into these episodes, and like, so for a show,
and it's CW's highest rated show.
It's like CW's highest rated show. I gotta admit, the special effects were pretty damn good.
Yeah, they did it. They always seem to manage for the parts that need the CGI the most or the special effects the most. They know how to allocate it so like the most important thing that needs it gets it.
Yeah.
And this was one instance of it. And yeah, Barry's vaporized. All that's left is his suit. Dark matter explodes out of the particle accelerator, and who does it hit?
It hits Jesse and it hits Wally.
Yes, who coincidentally in the comics are both speedsters.
Exactly.
No fucking way.
Yeah, no, it's happening, Pat.
Yeah, it is happening. Hopefully. Which leads us into the next episode, episode 21, The Runaway Dinosaur, which was directed by Kevin Smith.
Yeah, and this might be the best episode of the season.
It was a fantastic episode. One of, if not the best of the season. And I think one of the best of the series, for both seasons.
You know what?
Both seasons.
That's probably true. I might have to, I didn't catch the episode Tuesday night when it aired. I actually just watched it like right before for the podcast because we're reviewing it.
Yeah.
And like you catch the second half with me, and like I even said to you during, I was like, dude, this episode's like really good. Like,
yeah.
And it's kind of sitting in still right now, but I don't want to say it's the best episode of the series, but it's definitely a contender.
One of.
Right. I didn't know you. I know
yeah.
you didn't say that either, but like it's definitely a contender for the best episode.
It was great, and I'm glad that Kevin Smith is in case you obviously are oblivious to the fact, he's a major comic book fan. In case you had no idea.
Yeah.
Huge comic book fan, has podcasts about it, has his own store, has written a lot of comics, almost wrote the Superman movie that Nicolas Cage was going to star in, or did write it.
I would love to have seen that movie.
I read the script. It was insane. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen it because it would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said The Flash is his favorite show on television. He's nuts for it, real fanboy. And they're like, come direct an episode. And he did a damn good job.
Yeah, it's because, like, love him or hate him, Kevin Smith is a director that knows what he's doing.
And he's passionate about what he does.
He's passionate about what he does. And a lot of his movies his movies can be hit or miss, but the hits are hits. I love them.
Yeah.
The only movie we really disagree on, I think, between Kevin Smith is Tusk. I know you hate that movie.
I hate that movie.
I love that movie. But besides that, like most of his movies are good. Besides Cop Out and
Red State.
I like every single one of them.
Yeah.
So like he knows how to direct and he knows what to do. And the movies that are misses are really like his creative ingenuity. And that's not down talking Kevin Smith. I think he has more talent than most people, but that doesn't mean. But there's also Martin Scorsese also has bad movies, and so does Francis Ford Coppola.
Everybody has bad movies.
Exactly. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola made Jack with Robin Williams. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
And Godfather 3.
Oh well, no, that movie gets way too much crap.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's not that good, but it doesn't deserve the flack it gets. But so like when you have already a strong team of writers, a strong team of actors, and like already like a natural direction it's going in, and then you have someone with talent of Kevin Smith jumping on board, it's gonna be it's gonna shape up to be great.
Yeah, it's
like,
a formula for greatness.
exactly.
And you could really tell, like, he said a whole bunch of times, like, he had so much fun with this episode. The cast had a great time too. They've all said like it was one of their favorite episodes to shoot because of how like much Kevin was passionate about it and loved doing it. And in fact, he's going to come back to do one of the early episodes of next season.
For Flash or Arrow?
For Flash. He wants to write 2 or 3 episodes for Arrow, not direct them.
I think
but to write.
I don't really watch Arrow, honestly, and I know you've expressed extreme disappointment about that show. So do you think Kevin Smith should come on for a 5th season as a writer?
Well, not full-time writer. It's he said like he wants to do like a 2 or 3 episode arc to introduce Onomatopoeia. That character that I don't know if he created him, but he used him back when he was writing Green Arrow comics.
Kevin Smith?
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to write Green Arrow comics.
He did Batman too.
Yeah, he did some Batman. I think he did some Superman. Yeah, he did a bunch, but he said he wants to do it. He doesn't want to direct though; just write them, like 1, 2, or 3 episodes. I forget what it is, which would be good. Arrow could fucking use it because at this point, I don't think I'm gonna watch next season. But if he does end up doing some episodes, I'll watch those. Mm-hmm. Anyway, getting to the episode, you want to take this one?
All right. So getting into this episode, as far which. Like as we already said, is probably one of the best episodes of the series. It's a strong contender. So after the particle accelerator or the recreation of the particle accelerator and Barry Allen evaporates from existence, we don't know where he is yet, but we find out in the episode. Obviously, he's not dead. The show is called The Flash.
Yeah, you can't kill off the main character like that.
So magically, they find Wally West and Jesse unconscious.
Well, they called them on like the intercom or whatever.
Okay, all right.
And then they go searching for them. Then they find him.
Right.
But when they find him, I got to give props to Tom Cavanaugh. He had a sweet baseball slide in to grab his dog.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was pretty cool. He looks like a fit guy.
Yeah.
You know?
He's got some skill. He played in the celebrity NBA basketball game for this past All-Star weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know how well he did. I didn't really look, but
he probably did better than the other celebrities.
He probably did pretty good for a white guy who doesn't play sports professionally.
Racist. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, man. It's not racist if it's true.
It's not racist if you're just making fun of your own race. That's something.
Exactly. I'm allowed to be racist against white people.
Yeah. We do suck. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And with that, notice how Wally woke up really quick, but Jesse didn't.
Right. Which is a strong indicator.
And in fact, it's mentioned by Iris and Cisco, hey, when Barry got hit by the particle accelerator, he was in a weird coma for 9 months.
Right. And
she's in the same situation.
Exactly.
What's going on here?
We'll find out.
We do.
So it turns out we find out where Barry is too.
Yes.
Barry is in the Speed Force, the realm, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, honestly.
Right. And even in the episode, they kind of like Barry's still kind of confused. He's like, it's like being in the realm, or he doesn't say realm, but it's like being in gravity or something like that. It's like how can you?
It's in like a random like something separate from space and time. Almost,
right. And while in that moment where Barry realized where he is, Cisco actually vibes. And realizes
that's how he finds him.
Yeah, that's how he finds him because before Cisco vibes, Barry's dad and Joe and all, and they're like Barry's dead, and they're just they're obviously
and
really
Henry
upset.
is about to kill Wells.
Yeah,
it's like he's like ready to stab him. Yeah,
it was pretty intense, but thank God Cisco vibed. So then, So they're like, oh, where is he? He's in a different realm, and Wells kind of like explains that, it's like he's. The best explanation of where Barry is, it's a physical manifestation of the Speed Force.
Right.
Still doesn't really make sense, but at least it's an explanation of what's going on. But it makes sense for the episode, I guess. So, all in all, they're trying to find out ways to or they kind of do step upon a way of like actually grabbing Barry out of the Speed Force and bringing him in, but Barry also has to do a little work himself.
Right. While he's there, they're like the Speed Force inhabits the bodies of people familiar to him.
Yes.
The first person is Joe, and they're like, and it was kind of really creepy. It was like he's like, "Oh, hi Barry. Oh, I'm not Joe," and he's like,
Yeah.
Speed Force is like being creepy about it, and they're like, "Oh, we thought this would make you more comfortable." Meanwhile,
It's stuff I have nightmares about.
Meanwhile, when he first gets there, he's at the scene of his mom's murder.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to comfort anybody.
Yeah, it's kind of like it reminded me. You know what it kind of reminded me of actually? That episode of South Park where they get abducted by the aliens that have been in every episode up until like the 10th season.
Yeah.
And then and he goes, "Hi, like I thought this would be more comfortable to you." It's like Randy Marsh. He goes, "No, dude, that's creepy."
Yeah.
So they keep going through people that they would like, and finally they come up with a taco that poops ice cream. And it just kind of reminded me of that because it's like I don't understand like these like entities are like, we wanted you to be comfortable, so we decided to be like your mom. I'd be like, fuck you, no, like that's creepy as hell. My mom is not that calm.
Yeah.
She's usually yelling at me to take out the trash or like stop going out to eat and eat her food. Even though my
Stop
mom,
being a piece of shit.
yeah, exactly. My mom does cook delicious food, so I do have to start doing that.
Your mom is a wonderful woman. And it also inhabits the form of Iris, his dad, and then his mom at one point. Which we'll get to that a little later. But they're all saying the same thing, like, you're here for a reason.
Yeah, they kind of actually didn't really need Joe made sense. Iris and his father Henry kind of. It was nice that they were there, but it didn't really have to progress the story.
But it kind of was smart because through each person that it inhabited, they tried appealing to him in a different way as if they were that person.
Right. I
Which I think
understand
was
that.
smartly done.
It was smartly done, but it didn't need to be done. I would have. I don't know. It was good. It was good. I'm not complaining. The episode was great. It was. I think I would much rather have seen more action among the danger that is upon them, which I actually kind of forgot to mention. What should we call it? There's a reanimated corpse of Tony Woodward.
Girder.
Tony Woodward is his name.
And he had a thing for Iris.
Who had the major thing for Iris. He was in season 1. And it's where Barry actually had to run at a certain Mach speed and punch him.
He learned the infinite mass punch.
Exactly. So a reoccurring character.
He was in another episode too.
He was.
He died.
Right now he's somewhat the Solomon Grundy of the Flash universe. Let's say.
There you go.
Coming back from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Solomon Grundy is probably one of my favorite DC characters. So he doesn't live up to that, but it's still pretty cool. They're in danger, in imminent danger. He only recognizes Iris, and he wants to kill everyone around Iris.
Yes.
So not only do they want to bring back Barry, but they kind of really do need to bring back Barry.
Yeah, they need his help. Needless to say.
Yeah.
So they're dealing with that. They're dealing with trying to get Barry back. They're trying to wake up Jesse. And Joe had to basically almost guilt Henry into taking, because Henry's a doctor was a doctor, to take care of Jesse. And Henry at first is like, "Good, let her suffer. Wells will know what it's like. He just killed my son." Eventually, he comes around.
Yeah.
Not that he can really do much because she's in that type of state for a reason. So at one point when Iris is trying to lure Girder, Tony, to a certain way, they're at the West House and Joe and Iris are planning out. Then Wally's there, and Joe's a little suspicious of Wally. He's like, "Do you feel any different after getting blasted with that stuff?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "You sure? Nothing?" So he drops his coffee mug to see if Wally. I don't know why he. Obviously Wally's a speedster in the comics, but I don't know why Joe immediately assumed he'd be a speedster to stop it. So he kind of wasted a good coffee mug.
Yeah, and even Iris points that out. She's like, "I gave you that coffee mug."
Yeah, I don't know why he immediately assumed that he would be, a speedster or something.
Kind of wants him to.
Yeah,
He might be jealous of Henry there.
Could be. It made for a funny moment.
And a well-deserved funny moment.
Yes.
Or sorry, not well-deserved, well-executed, I should say.
There you go. That's better.
Yeah.
So back in the Speed Force, when they're trying to teach Barry a lesson to like help him become better, to help him get his powers back. They're like, you can't leave here unless you catch this. They say that, and they point to this shadowy figure that is zipping around everywhere, or zooming around, if you will. Like, oh, you got to catch that. And so Barry just goofily runs at it. And then the last incarnation he sees in the Speed Force is his mother. Oh, wait, before that, when Cisco and Wells come up with this idea to get Cisco to bring Barry back, and Barry sees Cisco. He sees this like vortex of
it's like cloud.
It's like a
lightning,
tornado, lightning storm.
But like it's weird. Like it's a tornado is a good description, but like tornadoes usually have like a fine point on the end. This was just like a funnel almost.
Yeah, and Cisco's like, "Oh, Barry, come with me," and Barry just kind of looks at him, like, turns around. They didn't like give him any signal, like no, not right now. I just turned around and ran. So then the last figure Barry sees is his mom. And we find out, like, the name of the episode is The Runaway Dinosaur, which, doesn't pay off until the end when she's like, oh, this was your favorite story when you were a kid. And they have, nice little touching moment. Barry's scenes with his mom, the very limited ones we have, are very, very emotional. I mean, the season finale of season 1, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough. Not gonna lie. I mean, somebody cut onions around me or something.
Yeah, maybe me too. I'm not sure. My mom was making a French onion soup.
And she's like, Barry, like, the Speed Force, one thing that kept holding Barry back throughout his whole life, turns out that he never accepted his mom's death. He never even visited her grave.
No.
Which is pretty terrible. That's a pretty shitty thing to do.
Well,
but I mean, I get it because he couldn't accept it.
Yeah.
And it's something that's been holding him back his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, it's like it turned him into who he was. It gave him his motivations for, life in general.
Yeah.
It's the reason he became a CSI. It's the reason, he was stalking the Man in Yellow, the Reverse Flash. So finally, like, in the episode, at that point, he's able to accept it. He catches the figure. Turns out it's himself. Gets his powers back. Cisco vibes again and brings Iris with him to get Barry back. Because Iris is his lightning rod. So, to draw him in. Barry comes back. They're immediately thrust into Girder coming out. They take him down. Turn him back into a corpse. No longer a zombie. And then they're like, oh yeah, Jesse's kind of unconscious. We have no idea what's going on. Bear goes over, touches her, and some lightning goes through. Mm-hmm. And this was something that Wally, I think, was pretty much, or he at least did it the most in the comics. He transferred Speed Force to her. And then, boom, Jesse wakes up. Everyone's like, oh my God, how did you know
Why
that
is
was going to
that?
happen?
Yeah.
And then Wells was like,
I think when Cisco goes, are you magic?
Yeah,
he says something
that's
like
exactly
ridiculous.
what he said.
It was such a Cisco thing.
Cisco's the greatest.
Yeah.
And Wells is like,
he might be my favorite character on the show.
Yeah, he's the best. And Wells is like, how did you do that? And Wells just goes, Speed Force.
Yeah.
And anytime you say Speed Force, like, you're just like, I ain't got to explain shit. It's just a Speed Force.
Just a Speed Force.
You got, if there's something you can't explain, you either say Speed Force or Plot Force. And that's all you need. Yeah. Those are the two explanations for anything that you can't really explain.
Can't. You just, I mean, but it also, it explains nothing, but explains everything at the same time.
Exactly. So then the episode ends with Zoom being Speed Hitler, talking to an army of metahumans from Earth 2, probably some from Earth 1, but I think most of them came from Earth 2 because he said, I brought you to this world. Saying, oh yeah, we're going to take over this world. Zoom is Speed Hitler at this point. And he's going to unleash them on Central City, and it's just perfect timing for Barry to come back with his powers.
Yeah.
But this was a fucking great episode.
It was awesome. I kind of want to rewatch it at least tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah. And there's only 2 more episodes after this. The next 2 weeks. And
there's no breaks?
No breaks.
Yes.
It's next week and the week after, straight. Yeah, and it's better. Like these episodes are going to be insane.
Yeah, it's finally who's directing it's not Kevin Smith directing these next 2 episodes, right?
No, that was just the one episode he did.
Okay,
but
he should have done 3, honestly. As great as this episode turned out, and the amount of viewers it probably got just because Kevin Smith was the director, I don't know. They were probably contractually obligated to keep the other directors on for the last 2 episodes, but
well, no, I guess it just depends on when they signed like the contract and like their availability and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, because Kevin Smith's still making, his True North trilogy or whatever.
oh yeah,
So he's got that. He's got to do some tours and like his podcast and stuff. And
Yeah.
he always does a lot of like touring podcast episodes. So he probably didn't have the availability.
true.
But at least he did this episode, and at least he's coming back next season. Maybe next season he could do more than one. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Which I'm pretty excited for Yoga Hosers.
That teaser, whatever clip they released, was pretty cringeworthy. I don't know.
I actually haven't seen it.
I'll give it a shot. I gave Tusk a shot. I watched the entire thing, even though I hated it. I'll watch Yoga Hosers.
Tusk was meant to be bad, right?
I don't give a shit. It was fucking terrible. I don't care if it was meant to be bad or not. It was terrible.
Come on, like it's a man trying to be a walrus.
Dude, it was worse than a sci-fi movie.
But yeah, exactly.
Like a sci-fi
But
channel
movie.
movie.
It was a well-made bad movie.
I don't know. Agree to disagree. So that wraps up the Flash up to this point. There's some other big DC news, actually.
Batman vs Superman still sucks.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Wonder Woman finished filming. And Aquaman actually has gone into rewrites now.
Also, the Flash movie
lost their director. Well, the director quit because of quote-unquote creative differences.
which was, oh my God, I don't think this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm glad this guy quit because he's never directed anything. And his claim to fame is writing
Pride,
Prejudice, and Zombies
Yeah.
and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So I'm glad this guy stepped down because I didn't have hope for it because this guy's not. His writing is He basically just builds on novel ideas, and they're popular because of the novelty of it, not because they're good.
Like I even for I never saw the movie of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter or Killer or whatever. I heard it was not that good.
I heard it was terrible.
But they even had to rewrite the ending because the ending of the book didn't even really make any sense.
Yeah.
And he was like the screenwriter for the movie.
Yeah. So I'm glad he stepped down. And another thing, which is actually a good thing, Ben Affleck has been promoted to executive producer for Justice League 1 and 2. Which, hopefully, and
I know. Just
hopefully,
get rid of Zack Snyder.
Hopefully, at least for Justice League Part 2, Ben becomes director. Or, give it to David Ayer. I want to see what he did with Suicide Squad.
I'll see
but
Suicide
David Ayer's
Squad
really
first.
good.
Yeah, but Zack Snyder's directing Justice League 1 right now.
I know. I think they're to delay it at this point would and to get rid of him would cause the shareholders to flip out, and it would cost a lot of money. But apparently him and WB and DC are really butting heads pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, we can't let him fuck this one up because this is like going to be the biggest movie that we've ever done, even bigger than Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, it is Warner Brothers' biggest movie.
Yeah.
And like that is no laughing matter. We rip on Batman vs Superman a lot, and it deserves it because it's a bad movie. And if you like it, sorry, it's still a bad movie. There's a lot of bad movies I like. I admit that they're bad movies.
Jim Cotta
is one of them. I like Hellraiser, that first movie, and Hellraiser 2. I know those aren't good movies, but they're classics to me, and they are classics, but they didn't age well. That's particularly because those movies just didn't age well. The point is, I know when a movie's a bad movie. All right.
Yeah.
Like, there are some exceptions where, it's a toss-up, like, whether you like it or not. I think Man of Steel is a toss-up. Like, you either love it or hate it. It's got good qualities and bad qualities. Batman vs. Superman sucks. The movie sucks. And if you like it, that's fine. But just admit it's not a good movie.
Yeah, apparently they're butting heads. Now on the TV side, Legends of Tomorrow. I mean that it got renewed a little while ago, but Wentworth Miller, who plays Captain Cold, just signed a new contract, and he's going to appear in all the Arrowverse shows. He's going to be back on the Flash. He's going to be on Arrow. Well, this opens opportunity for him to be on Arrow, back on Legends, even though he's not going to be a regular cast member on Legends next season. And CW also now will have Supergirl season 2. Supergirl has moved from CBS to the CW,
which is great.
Which is great because now I think it should have been on CW in the first place, and the president of the CW has said, "I regret not picking it up in the first place." Which now he can
and
be
Melissa
happy for it.
Benoist, she is
Quite lovely.
I love her. And like, you know what it is too? Like, I'm not a fan of that show really, but one thing I really like is the Supergirl character herself. I think she does an amazing job as Supergirl.
Yeah.
That's who I imagine Supergirl as, like her
Pitch
personality
perfect.
wise.
Yeah. Picture perfect.
It's a shame that the rest of the show around it isn't very strong. Granted, there are strong episodes here and there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deny that, but it's hopefully season 2 is a better improvement.
Yeah, there's some good things on it. It did have a good stretch. It kind of faltered at the end. It started
Martian
off,
Manhunter looked awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the best things they did. The show started off bad for several episodes, picked up, started getting good, ended on a not so great episode, or 3 episodes or whatever. But now that it's in the CW, I think it's going to be better because it's moving production to Vancouver, which is where each of the other 3 shows shoot.
Yeah.
They're going to be closer to the other writers. Like the Flash writers, Arrow writers, and Legends of Tomorrow writers all work in the same building. They're all like down the hall from one another. So it allows for more collaboration and everything.
Yeah.
The one thing that kind of sucks, though, is they kind of wrote themselves into a corner because now that she's on the CW, in order for a crossover to happen, he's going to have to go to another Earth.
Right.
It's not going to be as simple as him running a couple hundred miles to Central City to meet up with Arrow.
Right.
But I mean, they'll figure it out. But at least maybe next season now that they'll be able to acknowledge, oh yeah, by the way, I went to a third Earth instead of the how long was I gone bit.
Oh yeah, let's never acknowledge it ever again.
Yeah. But they are talking another crossover, so hopefully that works out well. And one thing they could do now with all these heroes and the new ones that they're gonna add next season on every show, and then especially on Legends, which is like a ensemble show, they can do a TV like mini version of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and combine them, which would probably work out pretty well. And
that'd be awesome.
That's something they could build out really well, and they could turn into something awesome. Because Crisis on Infinite Earths is amazing.
Yeah,
it's a great comic book arc. You should definitely read that.
Wait, there's a Crisis in DC? No. That never happens.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely, it's a good news. I'm hoping that it has a positive effect on Supergirl.
Yeah.
And
I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Silicon Valley comes on in 3 minutes.
Yes. Great show. You gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Download it on iTunes.
Rate us on iTunes, please.
Rate us on iTunes. Say we're the greatest people in the world.
Yeah. Like us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow our individual Twitters. I'm at Listen Connor.
I'm at Rick Pat Mick.
And also follow at Awesome Sun Show for Awesome Sunday Show. And Pat, what do I normally say?
Because Twitter's really generous with their character, so I couldn't put day in it.
Yeah, because that's so annoying. Dude, I literally, when I was making the Twitter account, I stared at it for like 10 minutes. Like, why can't I just put day? Like,
and also follow the Couch Review at the Couch Review, and subscribe to that on YouTube. As well.
Also, too, like probably around midnight tonight, there'll be a new episode of the Couch Review. It'll be Halloween Resurrection.
Cool.
So it's going to be a first retro stinker review. Although I'm not going to rip this movie apart because spoilers for the Couch Review. I think it's one of those movies that's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
Come on, Busta Rhymes.
That was my favorite part of the movie. I think that's the best part of the movie. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.